Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived as the Amateur Otaku podcast is back to talk more My Hero Academia. I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet fan here, and as usual, I still believe in heroes. And I am accompanied by the one and only Isaac Wolf, my brother, my man. What's going on, man?
Well, I'm exhausted, and this this chapter was a lot to take in, going all over the place in such a short amount of time.
It's to being a chapter that only has 13 pages. Um, I would say it's a lot to digest, um, and it's pretty impactful. I think
Yeah,
that's the best word that I can use because if we thought that the villains or the villain had the upper hand, now he's really showing how big his hand is. Like it's the most powerful game of Uno. like like he's about to win the game. But then again, that's what's supposed to happen in big shonen final acts, right? Like you can't bring the story to a close or give a hero their biggest victory without the villain gaining such a huge upper hand. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So
But
so
this
it's
upper hand is just ridiculous considering the end. Hmm, who should I put it? The end credits or what I want. No,
yeah,
sorry, panel.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack here. I figure we give people what they want, and we go ahead and unpack chapter 363 of My Hero Academia, and it's titled very in particular, "Those Who Defend, Those Who Violate." And apart from the fact that that's a very aggressive title, um, there's a lot that happens here. I think the biggest thing that we need to make precise and particular is that Horikoshi didn't have to do this, and but he goes out of his way to confirm that Bakugo is dead.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if Best Jeanist is at least trying to revive him.
Right, but he finds that Bakugo indeed has no pulse. His heart is indeed ravaged,
Yeah,
which I think that's a very ferocious word, right? Like that's
yeah,
what beasts do to meat. Let me
yeah.
see.
It's just the fact that he is taking off a bit of the fiber on his clothes and standing there. I'm just thinking, are they really going to fiber him up, in lack of better terms? Which
Right.
is, which is, how should I put it? I suspected that Bakugo is going to be resurrected at some point, but him being resurrected through that means is uh, kinda lame.
Well, the way I see it, I think they're making it a point, and also you got to think about this. Another chapter without Deku. Like nothing of Deku, like nothing. I like the fact that they didn't do what we thought they were gonna do. That they were just gonna go to a different place, even though
I mean, they kind of do go to different places in
yes,
this
but they
chapter.
don't. But the main narrative is happening where we were. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yes, we are. It ends in a different place, but it kind of highlights this duality and kind of a hive mind situation that's going on with All for One and his team. But can we talk about that shot in the second page where all the heroes are devastated? They're taking in the fact that Bakugo is pretty much gone. And then you have this panel of all for Shiggy, just like walking like Michael Jackson. Like, what I love about this particular image is how, because of the physical damage that Bakugo was able to inflict, right?
Yeah.
He literally looks like a hybrid between Shigaraki and All for One.
Yeah.
I like this is the kind of panel that I'm like, holy crap, this looks like I like how how nobody really I mean I don't think anybody has ever highlighted the fact that Shigaraki looks cool or doesn't. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know how you have those villains like Sephiroth or like even Sabuza, stuff like that. Like when they first introduced, like these are
Who?
villains or these are antagonists that look cool, right? Like Overhaul was one of
Which one did you say after Sephiroth?
Sabuza, like from Naruto.
Okay. Okay, I didn't catch that
Like
last
those are
name.
Madara, right? Like those are characters that look great. Another example would be Scar, or I would even say another character would be trying to think from another anime. Um, Smoker is another one that looks great, like from One Piece, right? Like
Yeah.
those are characters that when you look at them, you're like, oh my god, this guy looks great. Like I don't think if people have felt that way about Shigaraki, I haven't really heard it. Like the coolest villains or interesting villain characters that we've seen that a lot of people have talked about, I think the most that most stands out is Stain, right?
Yeah.
But
And then
this
the most I've heard regarding Shiggy and Dabi is the classic girls want bad boys. I can help him kind of deal. Honestly,
that's so funny. And dirty. But
I mean,
it it's
everyone have some form of kinks. I'm not shaming
this
anyone.
is not this episode, okay? Wow. Very okay. We're talking about kinks, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Let
mean,
us know what your quirky
Kingsper,
kink is in the numbers below.
Kingsperks,
Call us
not that far off.
1-800. Do you imagine that there's a triple X version of My Hero Academia that they're not quirks or kinks?
Uh, I mean, it's Rule 34. Okay,
Yeah.
this is getting worse than
And the
the
villain is
pussy
not all
beast
for
in my
one. The
head.
villain is all in. No,
This episode is getting worse than the pussy
oh my
beast
god. Can we
episode in
talk
My
about
Hero
how cool
Academia.
Okay, going back to how awesome Shigaraki looks. This is so bad. But
Yeah,
no,
but
like this is the first time
this
that
is
I
Amateur Otaku. What do you think?
I mean, look at the title, it's violated. So oh my god, that was so bad. Guys, I'm tired. It's been a long day, but I want to talk about this and for some reason it's so bad. But okay, going back, I I can't show you guys the panel. I don't know where you guys read My Hero Academia, but the second page of the chapter, where we see All for Shiggy just standing there, and I think this is the first time that I look at him and I'm like, damn, this villain looks awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's the first
Yeah,
time that I can say I like the look, I like the presence, I like how horrible of a threat he really is, and also how much he's enjoying the darkness and the destruction that he's putting out there. Now, one could consider it debatable that this is actually all for one in Shigi's body, and Shigi's no longer there, and that's just a different debate that they don't explore here. But the fact that he is this that we can see him actually being this embodiment of fear and evil, right? And like every single hero on the panels on screen are terrified about what he's doing, but that they've they feel that they've lost. You know what I mean? Like, and it hurts because you're kind of like feeling it with all the heroes. You feel the frustration in characters like Mirko, and how she regrets not killing him before. And it's, I don't know, man. It's so hard to watch how all of these heroes are suffering and are frustrated, and then Shiggy is just smiling, like he's having the
Honestly,
time of his life. Like in the
it's sort of,
background, they're starting to
it's
play the
almost
music from
like
Dirty
your
Dancing,
portion.
"Time of My Life,"
Uh,
and Shiggy's dancing.
Okay, this is certainly getting dirty. But anyway, before we start dancing around the question too much,
Oh my
uh,
god, the
I
puns have
wonder.
returned.
Yeah, of course it has. And people wonder why I don't recommend this podcast for 13 or under. But but anyway, I was just thinking if them making such a big deal about regretting not killing him earlier, if this is sort of a horror cautious deal about questioning the whole thing about no kill rule for superheroes.
Yes, it's him addressing the whole Batman of it all, right? The whole Arkham Asylum revolving door of villains, and yeah, yeah, 100%, a
Yeah,
hundred percent.
because we all comment about it's obvious why the real reason he doesn't kill his enemies is because well they want to reuse them and all that. Yes, not because character.
Right.
That's the real reason. We all know that. But he is actually making that arguably a plot point here.
Yeah. And also the reason it works here as a plot hole also, it's because, for
Did you say
example,
plot hole or plot point?
uh, it's, I don't know. I'm all in. So the reason it's a plot point. Sorry. But the reason it works here, uh, now that you bring the whole Batman of it all and the whole typical superhero of it all, right? It's the whole thing with Batman is the fact also that in some way, shape, or form, the story of Batman is a never ending story, right? It's no matter how many years have passed, like the character's been around for almost 65, 70, 80 years. It's meant to feel that the same Bruce Wayne is the one that's been from 1939 to 9 or whatever. It's meant to be the same idea, the same symbol. It's just manifested away in different forms and evolved in different ways depending on the era that it's explored. But it's not meant to have a sense of finality, right? So you have to bring characters back, or you have to find ways to keep them alive, which is why it's like you can call that fact into question, the whole thing about keeping characters alive. You can also use it as an idea of he keeps them alive to prolong his own insanity. You know, if you're going the route that Batman is just another crazy person, right? But you have the idea that a lot of the better Batman stories are the ones where there is a sense of finality. There's a sense of isolation. It doesn't exist in this never-ending well where characters just keep coming back because we have to create content about it. Does that make sense? And here in the world of My Hero Academia, because of the whole the quirks and how the world has evolved, and the fact that this is meant to be a story that has a middle, beginning, and end, those questions are able to be explored with a lot more weight. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you couldn't really explore in detail. Like for example, they the whole thing about the whole idea of Batman creating his own villains because of what he's done, right? In the movie The Batman, that argument kind of works because we're not seeing the Batman in that film or in that world. It's not a Batman that's been around forever. It's a Batman that's starting out, which you would assume that he's going to try and find ways so this doesn't continue to happen. So he doesn't continue to fight the same villains over and over again, right? Because you're trying to ground it As soon as that happens and you have a revolving door of villains, it's no longer grounded. But that doesn't mean the stories are interesting. I like the fact that by tackling that head on and questioning that, you're also like Mirko is doing, you're also
Yeah.
exploring you're also exploring all the different avenues of what does it mean to be a hero and what does it mean to stand for what you believe in, but also what it costs to stand up for what you believe in.
Also, I just love how she doesn't give a shit, even though Shiggy is literally, or all for Shiggy is taking her hand off her. She
Yeah.
just doesn't give a shit and keeps fighting,
Yeah.
which is something I love about her.
Yeah, she's awesome. This character is awesome. It hurts to see her in this.
Yeah, she gets damaged a lot, but she keeps fighting, and that's what.
Right, right. But and the fact that she's only just going like, if I could have just hopped faster, hopped a little bit faster, and it's like, I don't know, man. It makes you also think like, it makes you also think like the hero society that had existed prior to all of this was doomed to fail. Because even though you have characters like All Might, right? Hero culture allowed characters like Endeavor to exist. And all the other characters in the world that just didn't stand true to everything that meant to be a hero. You know, like I don't know. It's just a lot. There's a lot here, and I like it.
Same.
I'm glad that you mentioned that the idea of heroes making that kind of decision and like if Mirko, but you got to think about it. It's not just about making in the sense of in the character in the sense not in the sense in the case of Mirko. It's not just it's Mirko, right? That's her name. I feel that I'm
Yeah.
calling her the wrong name. The rabbit hero. Crazy hair. No. But the interesting thing about her character is that she's literally saying, "I needed to kill you." like
Yeah.
she's
I mean,
not
it also
questioning. She's not questioning whether or not she should have.
it
She's
also
like,
makes sense that she's the one saying it and not the other ones,
right,
considering the
right,
character that she is.
right. Which it also brings also to question like we know for a fact that that okay that's why Hawks is such an interesting character because Hawks made the decision to kill twice because he saw how dangerous he can become
Yeah.
because he then again then you go into the whole thing about then you have all these military spies or heroes that nobody knows about. They make these decisions that kill people to keep society safe. You know, a la not as crazy as Lloyd, but like in that sense, right? That they take lives to protect other people or protect interests and stuff like that. And the question of whether or not that can still be could that still be considered heroism? Because when we talk
Yeah.
about our soldiers and our soldiers go to war and they kill whoever needs to be killed because they're at war. It's war. It's life or death, no matter what. Either you kill to protect or you die. You know what I mean? There's no other way. And when they come back, we call them heroes. And it's like, is the fallacy that we see in most introductory comic books, right? That killing is off the table entirely. Is that a fallacy that can really be pursued? Which I don't know. I love My Hero Academia.
I love My Hero Academia too. And
Yeah.
also, let's also go to the fact that Dabe is still alive also.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I
that
mean,
yo, that came out of nowhere, bro. No, I mean, nobody expected this. And not only is he still
no, no, no,
alive.
no, 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 no. Not exactly, because there was, I can't recall which episode it was. But there is one that commented on our episode where we discussed his fight against, the Shoto against
Dobby.
Dabe. And let me see. Let me find that comment.
You're talking about the meaning of his name.
No, 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 not that one.
So while you find it, I find it fascinating. Not only the fact that he's reintroduced by killing another hero, the fact that he's alive because he copied Shoto's ultimate technique.
Here we have it. 2 months ago at 3:53, there was, I guess, a parody account of Albert Einstein, because that person called himself that with Albert Einstein's profile pic. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you gentlemen look closer at the glowing orb panel, the Dabb's chest has already regenerated its unburned skin. His Kirk is awakened. And then he wrote, good catch. Then he said, Dabby's skin is definitely regenerating. The panel with the glowing orb is DEPECTENG, the ice thawing. The skin of his chest has regenerated with only a few of the burned parts of the skin left. Compared to the previous panel with the glowing orb panel, we definitely get a different texture in the second one. Looking closely at the orb, there is a perfectly circular region surrounding where the color is constant, and no textural markings are present. A sign that regeneration is emanating from that point. So definitely the panel preceding the glowing orb panel, the ice crust visibly forms a crusted layer over the chest area, unlike the glowing orb, where the clear depicts the exposed clear skin of the chest. And if you look at the previous panel, Dabby's scarred face is shown, but the glowing orb panel, his face is conveniently hidden by the hair in that angle, most probably because his facial skin and tissues are also regenerating.
So first of all, Bamf, Nightcrawler has arrived. You just bamfed out of nowhere. What's up, Mike?
What's
Better
up,
late
Mike?
than never.
I didn't think you were gonna join in on today.
I had to be like Deku and arrive at the last possible second.
I mean, he hasn't arrived here yet, so get out. No,
Hey, you gotta tell me twice.
no.
No.
I kid.
No, but
Did you hear
Isaac,
anything on the recording before?
I heard you talking about. I assume you were reading some sort of theory. I literally like popped in like 2 minutes ago.
So,
Yes. We talked
well,
about the whole.
You don't have to retread it. I'll listen to the recording later. You can. Keep
but what I was
Okay.
gonna say about what you said. Welcome, Mike. It's awesome to have you.
I can control copy that thing. In
That
the
sounds
chat, and you can read it.
phenomenal. But Isaac, what I was let me at least answer to everything you read.
talk.
Okay.
Talk, yeah.
So that theory sounds interesting. Now, I don't want to say that I agree 110% on what he was saying. There could be some truth to that, but the whole thing about regeneration doesn't make sense because when you see Dabi, he's still
There we go.
pretty much
Gotcha.
effed up. Like he's still like coming apart, and you can see that his mouth is barely opening and closing. I would say that yes, he's regenerating, but I think that his body is functioning in such a way that he's not really regenerating. He's able to withstand his own self in this state. I think he's just in this permanent demon state, unless he's given new skin because he's gone. But
I mean,
the interesting thing is you got to think about it. By him copying Shoto's quirk, which is what's the most interesting thing, and leads to this awesome panel that we see. I think by copying Shoto's quirk, he's able to channel his heat in a certain way that probably is not harming his body as much as it did. Because part of Shoto's quirk is him able to bring this sense of not focus. I'm looking for a word. He's allowing all of the intensity, both cold and hot, to exist within his body without affecting his body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's essentially regulating the temperature.
Exactly.
I mean-
And he's doing it in a way that it's not harming his body anymore. It's not burning him or making cold, but he can activate it at any time to protect himself in terms of defense and offensive. So now Dabi's doing the same thing, which is why he was able to withstand the full glacier attack by just allowing his super crazy heat to just protect him.
To balance out Shoto's cold. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Which
kind
is which is fucking crazy because it's literally saying that Shoto won't be the one taking him down.
Maybe it will be Endeavor as a sacrificing to save his son kind of thing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I got a feeling that the only way Shoto, and it makes me think about what you've mentioned in the past, Mike, that supposedly Heroes Rising was the original vision for the ending.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the only way Shoto takes Dabi down is how he took the Chimera.
Yeah. You know, that makes total sense, especially if you're looking at how Dabi, like, I read the message Isaac sent here. I don't necessarily think it's a complete regen, simply because he looks exactly the same from where we left him last time we saw Dabi.
Somehow he still has hair, though.
Right. Only
Like-
in anime.
Yes.
But, I can totally see, like you said, he balanced out Shoto's glacier attack by pulling off that insane fire, protection, essentially.
Right.
I can totally see Shoto having to take down Dabi the same way he took down Chimera. I think it'd be more satisfying, though, for it to just be Endeavor and Shoto, and I think this chapter kind of lends to that idea of, eventually those two are going to have to come together and beat Dabi.
Yeah, like father and son.
Right. They have to. It's basically all family drama anyway, so you might as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Especially we have that weird moment where we kind of pan to the rest of the Todorokis, and it's like, what is that hinting to? Is that hinting at an attack where they're located, or is that hinting at we're gonna have to get this entire family involved in some capacity in this next confrontation with Dabi?
It's very possible, but no. But I think yes and no. But I think that all plays because remember, all this is happening while All for One is giving, which is interesting because it's kind of
Oh, are we going into that?
we have to at this point.
Yeah.
But what they tease here, or they confirm or reveal here, which to me, it's the most crazy of reveals, but it makes perfect sense.
How?
The idea that all of the villains are connected
Oh, you mean
because of technology and other quirks, which kind of leads you to the understanding that the hero's plan is flawed because the villains are able to stay in communication. So even though they were all separated and taken to different places, they've all been talking to each other in one way, shape, or form. And that is just freaking crazy and amazing.
You talked about that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was
Right.
thinking
So
about
which also apart from how powerful All for Shiggy is right now, it also kind of explains or kind of gives you an idea why they all feel that no matter what happens, they're ahead, because it kind of shows you how in control of the situation they have been all this time. Which to me is kind of great. Because they literally took the whole thing that the heroes tried to do, flipped it on his head, and now it's no longer we have to find Deku, is we're giving Deku no choice but to come to us. And the villains knew that's what they were doing, even though the heroes thought that they were making it easier for themselves.
Yeah, I both love and hate it simply because All for One has been 20 steps ahead of them the entire time.
Yep.
And when we thought they had the drop on them, when they
Yeah.
actually like he was legit flustered at the start of this new war, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, we had it planned all along. That's kind of weird to me. Like I would expect them to adjust on the fly and get it going that way, but it kind of feels like, oh yeah, this was a trap. Skeptic has been controlling this thing this entire time. Also, is it a continuity error? Like, I don't know if you guys talked about it earlier, but you know how they said Mandalay couldn't get in contact with Izuku, and then we have this panel saying Skeptic has basically hacked their system, right?
Yeah.
Mandalay's quirk is how they communicate. He can't hack her quirk, so why can't she get in contact with Deku?
I didn't think about that.
Well, whoa. So how does Mandalay communicate via telepathy?
Yes, we saw that in the Forest arc, season 3, when the League of Villains attacked the camp and they kidnapped Bakugo. She's communicating with them telepathically.
I didn't
So
think about that.
why is Skeptic able to hack and prevent them from getting in contact with Izuku? That's a continuity error, or
No,
it's
but
going to be explained
when
later.
do they say that they can't get in contact with Izuku?
It was like 6 chapters ago, I think. They were like, "Where is Deku? We can't get in contact with him," and she can't find him. Like he's off the grid. Like he disappeared. Like Aang at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like,
Well,
that's
you gotta
weird.
think. You gotta think. Could it be that because of the type of scale, Deku has some type of technology that allows her quirk to be expanded, and that's what's being played with?
Maybe that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be easily explained in the
I will
next
have-
chapter, but
But they simply haven't. But then
Yeah,
I will
again, Deku
though.
hasn't been part of this whole arc for the last 20 chapters, so maybe they just forgot to include him for that.
maybe.
Also, I have to say, if this is a continuity error, this isn't at least in my opinion, the biggest one, which I actually have to. Sorry, but I have to mention now. If All for One can regenerate his body to the point that we can actually see his face without any scars,
With no
Then
freckles,
A.
by the way. He doesn't have
No.
freckles. I want to make that known.
then
He is not Deku's dad.
why the hell haven't he done that earlier? And two, why do he need Shiggy?
So, also, I want to point out, you guys see like the lightning effect happening on his body, right?
Yeah,
And again, I'm coming in late. I don't know if you talked about it, but
we haven't talked about it.
That's the same lightning effect that happens when Aerie activates her quirk.
Oh fuck!
The same what?
So you see how he's regenerating and it's like coming from his eye, and
Yeah.
you see on the last page that's the same like power effect aura that happens with Aerie. If you go back and look at the chapters where Deku is saving Aerie, I'm not saying that he's related to Aerie, but I just think it's very interesting how they have a very similar
fuck.
power set.
You mean like All for One has a similar power set to Eri?
Right.
He is his biological dad or something,
I'm not pitching any dad theories because I think those are stupid. But I'm just saying.
Although I said that to Leo off air, and I do stand by it. If he just all of a sudden can regenerate his body like this, then fuck it, all for dad can still happen. And no, I
All
don't
for
want it.
Dad. Okay, first of all, let's keep our daddy issues away from the pod for the next 10 minutes, please. Okay, so here's my take. We have to go back to the whole people infiltrating the city in a minute because we definitely have to talk about that.
Yeah,
which
okay.
which is kind of like obvious something like that had to happen. Like there's no way that wasn't going to happen. There's no way that All for One did not have people inside any of these places, right? But to think that All for One has some type of quirk or whatever to do something similar to Eri, I am not surprised. Now, here's the thing though. It's been a long time since we've seen that. Well, actually, correction. I don't think
Yeah.
we've ever seen his face.
Dude, we can't show panels.
It's fine. It wasn't even
Okay.
5 seconds.
So
You're
I
fine.
think what we need to keep in mind is this.
Yes.
The whole thing with the communication and skeptic and blah 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 blah. The whole thing All for One is saying is that he has multiple avenues for multiple of his plans, right? So I think we need to understand that everything with All for Chicky, that's just one plan. Everything with Dabi, that's just one plan. What's going on with him and Endeavor, that's just one plan. But also, one of the things that we learned in terms in what and in anything regarding All for One's main body is that he doesn't have permanent quirks. He has copies. So these copies of quirks have limits on them, which
my
is why
gosh.
you know what I'm saying. Which
No,
is why
I just
Which
want to
is
throw
wh-
this out right quick for a sec. Right quick.
go.
What if he got a copy of Aries Quirk from Overhaul in the Shie Saikai?
It is very
yeah.
possible because it is very possible, and not only that, but the copies that he has are not full strength, and also I wouldn't be surprised if they have a limit of usage. So
Yeah.
the fact that we're seeing him recuperating his original form, it's probably because this is this version of All for One giving his last hurrah. Because I think part of that panel where we see All for Shiggy, where he literally looks like All for One, it's like you literally see him like a perfect hybrid, kind of. It's kind of letting you know that that's how far off Shigaraki is to becoming All for One. So us seeing this will probably be the final things. This will probably be the final boss fight against this version. But at the same time, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But that is just my theory. I think this is him. At least we're finally seeing what the whole shtick was when he said that he was kind of like doing his final thing after the big
And-
attack that Endeavor did.
Now I realized who watched in despair in that chapter that I thought that I were unsure on. Wasn't that the first user? Now that I think about it, hindsight being 2020.
Who?
With the chapter that he disintegrates
Oh,
like
that Deku's flying, and he says, and the original, and one for all,
Number
all
one,
for one's
yeah.
brother says, I have a bad feeling about this.
No, he said that villains are also that is on the brinking is also the most dangerous or something, and we only see his eyes.
Yes. But also, I think a couple chapters after, when we last saw Deku, he talks with the first user, and the first user says that he has a bad feeling about all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that leads us to believe that all of this is happening at the same time. But even though the heroes are not together, the villains still are, which is kind of the whole holy beep.
It's one of those things where this is the first time where I can totally see like a sequel to My Hero Academia happening. Because at first it felt like we were racing towards the end, right? But
Right.
even if you take down All for One, you take down Shigaraki, you still have the Paranormal Liberation Front
Right.
and all of these smaller groupings, and you still have Dr. Ichiko who has copies of all these quirks. Like, even if they somehow pull out this fight and win right here, it's not over. And that's the scary part.
Right. But then again, if you go back to the original thesis of the book, right? This is a story how I became the world's greatest hero. It's like how do they find the way to defend the world? Those who defend, right? How do they find the way to defend the world in a way where everything that got in the way of true heroism, it's no longer in the way, so heroes can really be heroes. Which because that's kind of the point of why we got to this, right? Because there was a lot of things that humans put in the way that just got in the way of what true justice was. You know.
Yeah.
I like this book. This chapter was just packed. It's crazy.
How is it
Also-
only 13 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That look of despair, like Endeavor's about to like Endeavor's lost an arm. Why is it that Endeavor and Bakugo both lost the same arm?
I
Star
have
Wars
to say,
reference.
I mean, Bakugo's dead, but how? I'm sorry, that was me.
Is he though?
also,
Stop.
I'm just saying,
Stop
I have no
it.
idea what the heck Best Genius is doing over there. He's doing something, and it's weird.
yeah, he is a
He's doing something, and it's.
What's he doing? Like he's either mummifying.
I mean, he
him,
already
or
came
he's
back from
doing
the dead
something
once,
else.
so he can probably.
Yeah, if you listen back to this recording when it's published, you're just gonna say that this is just sounding bad, all things considered, Mike.
Yeah, Mike is gonna be. I should have stayed away from this one.
Oh, boy.
No, not that far, but let's just say that we had a pussy bees incident there.
Oh my god! You know what? Yeah, I'm better off not knowing. I'm glad I arrived when I did. This is a fun chapter.
I mean, we can bring it back. No, so
No, but
I am excited.
I have a theory,
Oh,
sort
boy.
of like that. I'm not gonna show it here, but I'm gonna link the tweet to it because I saw it. You
Well, in
remember
that
that
case, put the link in the description so the viewers know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because that was a theory I mentioned early this week after the leaks came out. It's about there's someone wondering if La Brava is going to stop Skeptic with his hacking.
I mean, you know, I totally buy that simply because La Brava and Gentle's story was never concluded. Like we kind of left it open of, hey, when we need you, you're gonna come back. So I can totally see La Brava and Gentle Criminal playing a role. That's the thing. We were all under the assumption that because Horikoshi said it, right? He said that My Hero Academia would end this year. That ain't happening. And so I can easily see another 45 chapters, 60 chapters happening in this story. So I can totally see, another battle, basically a tech battle between La Brava and Skeptic.
Yeah. And also, I did a double check on Gentle Criminal's wiki page, and he's supposed to be 31, and I'm just bullshit. You're not 31 with that look, buddy.
What I don't understand is why do you feel so offended that he's 31? Like I don't understand. What
he looks good.
With that beard, you should at least be 55.
It's just white. Come on.
He's Hugo Boss. So
Minaka has white hair and she's like 25. Come on, man.
Yeah, so but he looks much more rougher.
I have nothing to say about that.
That sounds just bad.
Brandon, get us out of here.
I mean, have you seen La Brava? Okay, look, this episode was great. This chapter was great. I'm excited that we don't have to wait longer than 7 days for the next chapter.
Thank the Lord.
So I'm glad that it's coming back soon. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I really do hope that next chapter we see Deku. Like it's like at this point, if I don't see at least, I'm gonna say it like this: fuck, just give me a page. Give me a page. Like if I don't see Deku next week, it's gonna be kind of frustrating because
it's already frustrating for me.
No, and I agree. But like by next week, you get to a point where like, okay, am I just gonna listen to the villains be like, "This is my plan"? Like for another 2 chapters, like no, it's enough. I get it. You became nice. You want to go on dates. Stop it. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm ready to see my hero. I don't know.
It's my biggest issue with this entire arc, and this is why I don't know what Horikoshi's thinking. Like if he's plotting this out for the anime specifically, great stuff. But reading this week to week has been so hard for me because nothing matters. Nothing that they do to Shigaraki matters. Nothing that they do to All for One matters until Deku shows up. Because you've shown that they can't even beat these guys long ago. 2 years ago, you showed that.
Do you think
Um,
that Deku accidentally arrives to where All for One is first before he arrives to where Shigaraki is?
I feel like that's what has to happen at this point, right? If Bakugo is truly gone, no offense to anybody else on that battlefield, but I feel like story wise, he
hon-
needs to go take out All for One, and then he books it to Shigaraki.
Honestly, with how he said who wants to be a president to Izuku next, you know the scrapped picture that he supposedly did that this floating around.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that idea sticked.
Well, again, that maybe we'll see. That's just a reach at
But,
this point.
yeah, but I mean, with what you said and all that, yes, and how he acted, I was just thinking about that. Yes, it was just off the top speculation, but
Yeah, it's just for me really frustrating. Like if there was just one, if it was just Shigaraki, I'm cool with that because we know that's the end game, right? Deku has to get to Shigaraki. But All for One is regenerating. Now what do you do? Which one do you choose, right? Because they're both basically, even though he has copied quirks, they're both of equal importance because nobody there can win. If All Might was there taking down All for One, I get Deku going to fight Shigaraki, but that's not happening. So for the last 3 months, I'm just kind of sitting here waiting for the story to progress because we've been spinning our wheels because if Deku's not there, nothing gets done. And
Right.
that's the thing that's tiring. And that's why I at least wish we took All for One off the board. If he wasn't there and Shigaraki was just the guy, that at least would have been a little more interesting. Like, I totally believe Shoto was going to beat Dabi. But now Dabi's regenerating too. And it's like, I don't think we see Deku for another 10 chapters. Hopefully I'm wrong because we're just going to cut back to Shoto. And Shoto Ida.
And by the way, why are we doing the whole resurrection jutsu thing? Like, can we just beat the villains and let them die? Like, what?
That's why no matter what they say, until I see a funeral, I don't believe Katsuki's dead. Because if everyone keeps getting revived, and the last thing we see of him in Best Jeanist is Best Jeanist doing something. Like, he never says dead. He says no pulse, and his heart is ravaged. And then he starts working. And it's like, he might be pulling some medical jutsu over here, some healing jutsu on Bakugo.
I can already see Sakura's like little like worm thing or leech thing coming out of nowhere and just like, and you said I was useless. No, not you. You're a jutsu user.
Exactly. And, you know,
I mean, I'm Team Sakura, but that's a different story.
I mean, at least she got it from the Hokage, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was the coolest moment Sakura
now
really had.
we have to talk. I almost forgot, and we almost left. Do we recognize the people that have infiltrated Sky High?
Yes,
they weren't they in a chapter when Deku was coming back to UA?
When Uraraka was giving her big let Deku take a bath speech, they infiltrated UA. So we've already known that they were kind of agents of All for One. We still haven't seen them really do anything though.
But apparently that's coming. Now, are all the people that they're protecting, are they in Sky High or are they like on? They're at UA, right?
They're at UA, yeah.
Not at Sky High. Sky High is just another side of UA.
Right. It's another facility. So yeah, we have the two kids from their remedial courses saying that Bakugo and 5 weenies are going to protect them, which is either heartbreaking or hinting at Bakugo protecting them. We'll see. And of course, you have the Todoroki family. That's what's really happening in that scene.
Yeah. Is the mom going to use her ice quirk to save the day?
That's what I'm like. I don't think that they're going to use their quirks whatsoever, but I could totally see them getting involved somehow. Simply because, think about it, Shoto is his masterpiece. Dabi was the first one who had the potential to be that. I assume Fuyumi and Natsu's quirks are either duds or they're just quirkless.
Yeah, I know for a fact that the mom has an ice quirk.
Yeah, she has ice.
So,
Allow me to break the ice.
Ay, ay, ay. And with that,
guys, thank you for joining us, Mike. Thank you for jumping in and exploding into the scene. Um, this is awesome. My Hero Academia is still awesome, but I need Deku. I need to see our hero on screen, and we need him to be part of the conversation. Um,
oh yeah,
but yeah, guys, anything else on the capture, card captors, Sakura? Anything else on this?
all I have to say is I think it's time for Deku's moment. The moment All Might has said since the very beginning of his time at UA, right? Since the sports festival, he needs to arrive, tell them everything is fine because he's here. That is going to get the longest yeah boy I've ever said in my life. But for that to happen, I want to see what that other quirk is. I want to see what the second user has to do with anything because we had a flash to him, didn't follow up on that yet. I don't want to be stuck with Dobby for another 5 chapters. I'm tired of Dobby. He should have died last time we fought him.
Agreed.
That character is so interesting, but he can only go so far. And I feel like we accomplished what we needed to accomplish with him.
I mean, maybe the meaning of Phoenix that his name is supposedly having makes more sense than one's.
Okay, we'll call him Fox, but please, it needs to stop. We need continuity. We need Deku to be there. I have a question. I know. I keep thinking of things because I'm a horrible person.
Not horrible. You're perfect for this job.
There you go.
Yeah.
Horrible person, but perfect for the job. I think that's a happy medium. Um, so, spoken like a true artist, right? So what I was gonna say is, did we ever get a measure of Deku's percentage of All for One while he was Deku of the Night?
No comment.
I think we got him at 45% last I remember, but he had Fajin, which basically was a fake 100% because it was a quirk multiplier, a power multiplier.
He got
So
5 gen.
Yeah, Fajin. That's a quirk booster. That's the 5th user's quirk. And so it takes whatever his power level is and amplifies it, multiplies it. So if
But he got that because of one of the users, or
right, it's one of the user's quirks he unlocked.
oh,
So Fajin is a quirk booster. So it just amps his power level. So if he was operating around 50%, that's why now Deku can operate at 100%. Which is why Leo is constantly upset that Deku can't just get to 100%. Because if he has 100% power and Fajin, he's not working at God mode, essentially, which he has to unlock soon.
Right, but at the same time, where was it that, against Muscular, we see him doing quote unquote 1,000,000%.
Right.
Which it's in there, right? But I think one of the things that's going to be interesting now, once he actually enters the battlefield, is that we got to assume that he has a new base mode. Like. Okay, we're not going to end. I got more to say. So,
yeah. So I just want to hop in right quick before you go on to your next point. So yeah, he's operating at 45%. That's why the second round against Muscular, he one-shots him. And when he said 1,000,000%, Horikoshi had to issue an apology the next chapter because he basically said Deku wasn't really going off how much power he had. He was just giving it 1,000,000% effort. He was still operating off of 10%, which I just thought was funny. He had to issue a statement to clear that up.
But that makes sense based on the stress level, and everybody knows Dragon Ball.
Exactly.
But what I'm thinking is, like, I don't think, like you said, I agree with you. I was just thinking about the best imagery that I could get, and of course, it's another Naruto reference. You keep saying about how this has to be the moment where he arrives and says, "Don't worry, guys, I'm here," blah blah blah. Right? It's like Yeah, I was just thinking about his power level and stuff like that because this has to be Deku's Sage Mode arrival to Konoha to confront Pain, right? Like, it has to be that kind of arrival.
He arrives on a
Yeah,
giant froppy.
Right. Like, it has to be him
that scene was
arriving.
epic.
Yeah, he has to be him arriving. It's like him arriving, Naruto arriving in Sage Mode, um, Goku arriving at the end of Dragon Road to come back to Earth to face Vegeta, right?
Yep.
Like, that's this kind of moment. And like all we're seeing, first, I don't know why. I don't know if this is his way of tipping the hat to all these animes, but like my guy, you revolutionized the shonen genre by giving us a hyper speed, concise, and great story. But now you're doing the same thing as everybody else, buddy. Love you, Horikoshi. Peace. Love what you do. Thank you. Don't ban us.
No, but you're totally right. He has to have that moment. And I just want to point out when Naruto shows up, Kakashi's dead, like lights out dead. That story ends. Kakashi's alive. I'm just saying.
Oh, you are so not stopping your. He's going to be resurrected.
I have
Mike?
no reason to.
Mike, I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
say this with all the love in my heart. You bastard.
So
And I
okay.
stand by what I said. He is probably gonna resurrect, but goddamn, that chapter will weigh in less than he
So-
should. But
Here's
I
my
digress.
here's my spiel on that because I know you guys probably already covered it in depth before I got
We
here.
didn't.
Okay. So what were you guys talking about for those 20 minutes? I wasn't not important.
King.
A lot of improper things, but a lot of the chapter
Kings.
too.
Okay, so Katsuki Bakugo, the entire story of My Hero Academia, has been viewed as a symbol of victory through Izuku's eyes, right? Deku straight up says, when I think of winning, I think of Bakugo. Bakugo is that entire idea of victory, of winning. That's his entire motive. You have to win by beating the best. And it's just very unsatisfying that he goes out that way. On one hand, I can see it being a subversion of, yeah, that's his entire story arc, but you don't get happy endings all the time, right? Things don't have a storybook ending. So I can see Horikoshi using that to like subvert your expectation of what's going to happen with Bakugo. But the story has never once given me a reason to think he's gone. Because Best Jeanist, the one who keeps referring to Bakugo, says his heart, he has no pulse, and then we see him start doing something. I feel like if Bakugo was dead, Best Jeanist would get back into the fight.
I mean, no offense, because I can speak from personal experience, but you can get a bit. I need to try something to save someone like that, but even though you know subconsciously that it's not gonna work.
Right.
I'm not saying that Bakugo is gonna stay dead. I'm just gonna say that
I know,
just
but
because someone starts working on someone and trying to help, it doesn't mean that they will be saved.
here's the pushback to that argument, though, is that Best Jeanist is a top 4 hero. If Bakugo's gone, he would automatically move to the next step of fighting Tomura Shigaraki. Since he's not doing that, something's up. And that's the thing. We don't even know what the heck he's doing to Bakugo's body. But when you are that high of level of a hero, you've seen people die before. We saw people die in the previous arc, and Aizawa had to keep going. You don't stop, especially when you have the baddest dude on the planet, somebody who Deku wouldn't even have a chance to be facing on his own. That's why they're all there. You don't just sit there.
Yeah,
That's the
I'm
thing.
with you. I'm with you. All I'm saying from personal experience, actions sometimes don't help, and I'm not sure. It's a figural speech that fix, but let's drop it there.
But I get what you're saying, Isaac, and I also get where Mike is coming from.
Yeah.
Because you got to think also here, because what the perspective from Mike is that
I'm with Mike. Don't get me wrong.
right.
All I'm
But
saying that
like
it's,
he's sitting
He's
there.
just talking to my point.
Right, and I agree,
Yeah.
and what I think it is now, I kind of sadly now I'm kind of leaning into Isaac's camp for the sake of, yeah, that's happening, guys. It's happening live. No, I'm kidding.
It only took 363 chapters.
But the sense of if Best Genius is doing something is because he thinks it's going to work.
Right.
So, if Bakugo doesn't die, like, I'm going to say this. Horikoshi doesn't give up about anybody, because after the last chapter and starting this chapter with that imagery of reminder of, like, hey guys, this is how great a guy Katsuki Bakugo was. No pulse. And then no pulse.
So great.
It's like, bro.
I love the cut to just Best Gina saying, "This can't be." With Bakugo's lifeless eyes. Like, that is savage, dude. But the thing that gives me pause is Shigaraki saying, "This time, he's truly dead." Which is just primed for a big shock reveal in like 10 chapters. That,
I'm
like,
with you.
that is ridiculous. It can go,
I'm with
but it
you.
can go either way. I
I'm
need to
with
see
you.
how creative Horikoshi is as a writer, because he can go either direction, and I hope he chooses neither and gives us a really cool third option that we don't see coming.
Which is what
you.
we need to hope happens.
Yeah.
But then again,
Mike, Mike, just for a reference.
we've been asking for Deku for the last few
Yeah.
months, and we still haven't gotten him. So.
Yeah, let's. I just want to say that I agree with you on the whole Bakugo storyline and all that. Yes. All I'm saying is that I think he should have approached that last week's chapter differently if he's going to survive. That's
I mean, he could have approached this entire arc differently, as far as I'm concerned.
Good point.
So
I don't want to come off as I'm just ragging on your comment or something.
I mean, you come off a little bloodthirsty for a teenager. That's one thing. Yeah, I don't care what you feel about my comment.
Oh my god!
I don't just want to. I know I have heard someone call me a bit too asshole last week, so I just wanted to point that one out.
Oh, good, bro. Flash, we got anything else?
I think we need to go. I think this is. No, it's been awesome, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Everybody that listened to everything that we've said, thank you for joining us throughout this entire journey, through all the chapters that we've covered of My Hero Academia. Let us know what you think about what's going on in the story right now. I love the fact that the Amateur Otaku is all about getting together with friends and talking about anime and manga, because the fact that we're able to talk amongst ourselves for an hour about a 13-page chapter talks about how invested we are in everything going on. But this book is great. I hope you guys keep enjoying everything that we do every single week. And if you want to listen to our archive, go to YouTube. Our entire archive of My Hero Academia episodes is there. All My Hero Academia Vigilantes, some of the films, some of the spin-offs like Team Up Missions, and I think we'll sometime maybe do something of School Briefs, because I don't know, it exists.
It exists, and it's probably the nice break we need from the war. Like, they're just school stuff, which is nice, slice of life.
Yeah. But there's we can't wait to cover more My Hero Academia and do a lot more content on other manga and other shows. Guys, I think I'm gonna announce it, Mike. You ready?
Shoot.
I'm gonna do it now. Guys, I've been working on a project, and you guys, I think a lot of you guys are gonna enjoy it. I'm watching One Piece. It's happening. I'm doing it.
Peak fiction.
And oh my god, so bad. But I just want you guys to know that I've never intended of watching it, but I cannot call myself a part of an Amateur Otaku, a part of an anime podcast, and not try. I know I have I've almost at 100 episodes of One Piece. I am loving the show. Still finding hard to find time to watch it, but I'm almost at 100. I still have another 900 episodes to go, but I can see a lot of the amazing stuff that happens in the show. And as a milestone episode, I will be making a solo video every 100 episodes, so you guys can follow me on my journey with One Piece.
That is
I'm
crazy
really
that you have to. You even have the opportunity to go every 100 episodes. That's
Yes.
how long this show is.
Yes. So, guys, I hope you guys join me when I start doing the recordings. I'm really hoping that the first episode that I do comes out sometime late September. That's my goal because I want to do a very nice, good video for the channel because there's a lot to talk about in 100 episodes, and there's a lot of stuff that make One Piece very special. And I can't wait to share my thoughts with all of y'all. And hopefully, by the time we reach the end of One Piece, which Oda has officially announced is coming, which probably won't arrive in anime for the next 3 years, hopefully by then, we are covering it live on the Amateur Otaku podcast. So, stay tuned, guys. We're going to be talking One Piece in the channel very soon. But
I mean, at the very minimum, we are more than likely covering the live action show, so...
100%.
Oh yeah,
So-
I'll be there for that.
But stay awesome, guys. If you want to follow us on YouTube, click the subscribe button, click on the bell for notifications. If you want to listen to us in the podcast form, I know we don't curate our podcast channel as much as we want to, but trust me, a lot of more episodes are going to drop there, especially for movies and shows that we've covered on the channel. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Mr. Isaac, where can people find you, bro?
Well, you can find my work at Vobam Entertainment, and you can find my Temblomaniac on Twitter. And, well, this, we shall see if the next chapter, next episode, get less kinkless.
Wow.
Or should I say less kinky? I don't know.
Okay. You didn't make it better. You just made it worse.
Yeah, I know. It's me we're talking about, after all.
Mr. Mike, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. You can find me at Geek Vibes Nation. We have a lot of fun stuff cooking up over there. And Collider.com. You can find my writing there. And of course, our movie podcast, The Chatter After. You can find
Yes.
every episode of The Chatter After on basically wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube.com/Novice Cinephile is where you can watch the video version of those podcasts. We've got some fun episodes coming up there. We've got Parasite. We've got The Shawshank Redemption, which one of the greatest movies of all time. And
100%.
as Isaac was messaging me earlier, the best live action anime of the last 4 years, RRR. So stay tuned for that.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter and the Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram. And yes, guys, we still believe in heroes. Have it
Also,
awesome.
we are covering Sandman on The Chatter After.
And
Mr.
that's
Sandman.
Have it awesome, everyone.
Have it awesome. That is the okay. Bye. Plus Ultra. Woohoo!
Awesome.